Hello, welcome to day 3 of Softron's Virtual Exhibition. My name is Mike Skibra, and I will be the moderator for today's session. We have several guests with us today. Our first is Jules Elkan. He's based in the United Kingdom. We also have Virgil Beljambe, who we recorded a little bit earlier today because he had a scheduling conflict. And finally, we have Pierre Chevalier and David Belisle. They are both with Softron. David is our broadcast support manager, and Pierre Chevalier is our CTO. Great. And Jules, tell us a little bit about yourself and your operation. I can see in your background, you've got quite a setup behind you. Where are you based?
Yeah,
what do you do?
It's a matte painting. It's one of those green screens backgrounds. It just seemed appropriate. I'm Jules, and we're based in the UK, and we work mainly in live motorsports television, and I look after facilities and guarantee on various productions, and I hold a role as a head of digital for a sort of motorsports group, a global motorsports group, it's a shame not to be in Vegas. That's all I can say.
Well, you're not missing our weather. I'm sure this week we've had a cold snap. So Vegas isn't what Vegas is to what people usually think Vegas is from a temperature standpoint. But well, our temperatures will get back up there. So you're based in the United.
I'll keep my dream.
Yeah, you're based in the United Kingdom. Where in the United Kingdom are you based, and why is it a good location for you to be?
So we're based right in the centre. If you put a pin right in the centre of the UK, that's where we're based. And we are in the centre of an area called the Motorsports Triangle. A bit like Silicon Valley, in the world of IT. We have a sort of motorsports history that goes way back in the UK. And the sort of centre of that is the Midlands in the UK. It's full of engineering firms, motorsports professionals, motorsport engineering, racetracks, circuits, and there's a culture here of that kind of background. And from my point of view, it was a great area to live in because of transport links. We have airports, we can get to all the major airports quickly, but we can also get to all the racetracks because we do a lot of work at the actual circuits, or at least we used to.
Interesting. I didn't know I didn't know about that triangle. The triangle that I'm familiar with is the Bermuda Triangle. So we now know we have a motorsports triangle in the United Kingdom. The topic today is mobile production and the mobile production workflow. And one question that comes up a lot when we talk about mobile productions is the robustness of the Macintosh in that type of environment. Mac's been around for a number of years, and we see a lot of people in the United States saying, well, maybe the Mac is just not up to it. What's your opinion on that? Jules?
We've, in broadcast and in the culture of, certainly in the last sort of 15 years while I've been in broadcast, my background is actually from music production. And of course, there's a great culture of using Apple Mac products and the kind of the creative brain to final output, making that as short as possible and not getting too involved with the technical side of the equipment that you're using. You just want to make something. And in broadcast, I think that I can see a sort of average of, in the UK certainly, of 80% approximately Mac to sort of 20% infrastructure, although those PCs might also be Linux-based machines, we're not talking Windows necessarily. So the Mac has really been the backbone of editing systems, of certainly run and gun editing systems, anything that people are bringing into a environment that is mission critical and that you can't spend a lot of time tinkering, you just want it to work. That has always worked really well for the Mac. And when I came into the current production that I'm involved with, which is about 12 years ago, everything was Mac, and there was no expectation to move to PC. And so we've stuck with it, and it's the Macs have actually never let us down in 12 years, and we have quite a lot of them. We still run Mac Minis that we purchased back in 2010, and they are still sitting in racks in OB trucks doing their little particular job, and day in, day out. And yeah, we keep them updated and we check them every year, and but they're easily replaceable, and they just get on with the job. So especially the Mac Mini format, because it's ideal for racking. You can purchase dual rack enclosures for those, and almost every system that we put in at some point within that rack will have a double Mac Mini, a primary and a redundant in that system. And they might be just to be handling some matrix switching or running some scripts or connecting to the internet in order to allow a certain set of equipment to have access to the internet. All sorts of reasons. Then on the editing side, we had a lot of the Dusty Bins, which came out in 2013, and we went from the big racks that were quite awkward to position into having these Dusty Bins. And they were actually pretty powerful, and from our point of view, they had a lot of Thunderbolt connections. And Thunderbolt was really, for us, it was quickly adopted by our industry as being this high data flow connectivity, lots of peripherals that were circled around our industry. So lots of ingestion units, lots of sort of rack units that required that fast data throughput. And the Mac was the kind of the center of the Thunderbolt universe. So they were an easy fit for us to start to put edit systems into the truck, rack mount these Dusty Bin units, these Mac Pros. We call them Dusty Bins, but it does them a disservice. They're Xeon-powered Mac Pro circular units, but they have 6 Thunderbolt connections on the back. And back in 2013, that was really something. And even to this day, even here in the MCR, we probably have 3 of them sitting doing different things. And that's a unit that's from 2013, and it still runs the current software the Mac releases, and everything still works with it. So they're great and solid as. I mean, what was so great about them is we even used to stick them in a backpack and travel on a plane, and we'd end up with this, we'd be in a location in a desert or something, but we'd have, a unit that was super capable, that was small, that just did what we needed it to do, incredibly robust, and had all the connectivity. So the number of times we've had to jump on a plane to go and do an event, and not knowing what was going to be there, we just throw one of these Mac Pros in the backpack. It was a regular thing. Very tough unit. So
we used to call those.
They proved themselves.
Yeah, in the United States, we used to refer to them as the trash can. Same thing, Dusty Bin. The Mac trash can. Pierre, Jules was talking about the ingest functionality and how that was. I know that now the Mac Minis are a lot faster. We now have M1 Silicon in the Macs. And I wonder whether, Pierre, you could give us some information on the ingest capabilities of the various Macs that are available today and what to expect from MovieRecorder, from Softron, working with those units.
Yeah. So I talked about it in the live yesterday about the M1 compatibility. So if you want to see more there, but just to sum up very quickly, most of our applications are running now natively on the M1, and it has these M1 computers have really amazing performances. For example, to record with MovieRecorder on an M1, we're able to record up to more than 8 channels of HD to HEVC. they have done a really great job in encoding to HEVC, which is not probably the best editing codec, because it's compressed and so on. But for ProRes, you can go up to 5 or 6 channels in HD. So that's pretty amazing. And then
is that on a Mac Mini?
Yes, yes. So that's for ingest. And if you go, then there are the different other computers where you can go, of course. So the Mac Mini can really do a lot. And as Jules said, we can rack them. So it's easy if you want to do it in the mobile environment. And now as it's SSD, there's no worries about, damaging the hard drive or things like that. It's very solid. You can really bring it out. And Jules said you could even carry it in the backpack. So, and so there are these Mac Minis, you can rack them. And reminder also that with MovieRecorder, you can control from one workstation multiple computers. So if you have 25 channels to record, you can stack those Mac Minis, connect them to a expansion chassis with a 8-input video card, and then from one workstation you will control all these Mac Minis. So you have one workstation to control and start recording, it will start recording on all the Mac Minis. But then if you want to go also even more powerful, you have the new Mac Pros, of course. The 2013 Mac Pros were working really great. They were really great computers. But of course, there were these criticism about having to have something external and people preferring to have internal PCI slots. And indeed, in some cases, it can be better. You cannot unplug them. It can be safer. So these new Mac Pros, there is even one model that can be rack mounted. You can stick a lot of PCI channel cards in there and then record many channels of HD, 4K, and so on. So these are really power horses, and we can really do a lot with these.
David, because you're doing most of the support for the broadcast industry and the mobile production industry, what type of users are you seeing who are using MovieRecorder in their environments?
Well, and it really goes from, we've seen broadcasts, we've seen sports, like what Jules is doing. And so, it's press conferences, it's someone, hey, I have to do a stand-up. As a customer, we had the 8 channels, and we actually dedicated a channel for the producers. So they were in control of that, so they were all running Mac, so it was a Mac environment. And they were using the remote control feature, and they had access to one channel, because you can't trust a producer because they're going to change everything and break it. So we gave them access to one channel, and that's what they would start. They would name the file and record it, and it would go into the storage, and the rest of the stuff was all for the production. So our cameras and other feeds were all controlled by us, so we could keep that separated from them. And I think one of the things that I'm interested to hear Jules about, if you're using this or discussing about using it, was what we've done with scheduling, what we've done with scheduling inside of MovieRecorder, where you can do Apple scripts and now control a Blackmagic router, and you can control a ROS router. That's something we just introduced, and I'm kind of wondering if that's something you're going to leverage in your production.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, absolutely. I picked up on that, particularly in the notes about the next release, and it definitely got me thinking, pretty excited actually about not so much the scheduling, but certainly the matrix switching. One of the things that we are running is we're running a lot of live streams. So at a particular event, we might have 14 different actual concurrent outputs, so of different content, slightly different content. So each one might have a different language set, and might have a different graphic overlay, but there are 14 concurrent feeds running live out of our event. And some of them can be high data rate ones, but switching something into those channels quickly and easily is quite a tricky thing to plan for, because the main OB is running let's say an ME4 Vision Mix switching system. They can potentially, if they have lots of arms and legs, can actually create 4 separate mixes and run those to us separately. But actually, we might want to fly in a VT on one of those feeds. So how do we switch that in when the signal's actually coming from the main M&E? So looking at ways of automating a multiple matrix switch of a script that could include a lot of switching all at the same time. Switch this to that, switch this to this, and switch to, a preset environment would be incredibly useful. And we know then the correct signals are going to the correct Softron recorders, and that everything is getting what it wants in a time critical way. That's going to be very, very interesting. On the OB, we have some pretty comprehensive routing systems, but downstream of that, to have some of that flexibility would be really empowering, and empowering in a way that means you're changing workflows. You're going to be able to do more output. You're going to be able to do more stuff within that capability of the equipment you've already got. So this is really the sort of thing that almost renews the equipment that you already have. It gives you, it's an exciting area. I want to learn more. Sounds really good, but you can see that it's certainly one of the things that got me excited about reading some of the options coming.
Jules, could you describe for our audience what your actual setup is? I mean, what do you have in your vans? What do you have in your studios?
Yeah, so we're a live event company, really. We supply sort of all the digital solutions for live events, and we work as part of the OB, absolutely integrated into part of the facilities. So the equipment we used to bring to the party, so to speak, was we would turn up at an OB facility where the trucks were being kitted out, ready for the events, and we would install our equipment and, wheel our comfy chair in, and we'd have a crew, 2 or 3 people, and we would be responsible for all of the deliverables, which are the recordings, the stream outputs, any graphic stuff that needs overlaying that's not the timing graphics that you see on a sports program, but maybe some other additional graphics that are suitable for streaming or for different platforms. So we are downstream of the main broadcast, but we take the main broadcast and we take all of those outputs and we create the content that people see out on the web. So as part of our deliverables, we were also looking after edit. And so our technology would revolve around live streaming and output, edit and ingest, archive and logging, and gluing all of those bits together. So they're quite separate types of equipment, but pretty much across all of them, and almost at the center of all of it is the recordings. And we had a demand to find a solution to be able to deliver highlight programs within an hour after the event ended. And especially an 8-hour live sporting event, thinking of editing that down to 45 minutes and delivering it on a satellite, playing it out live on a satellite. Sometimes that live satellite is going out to TV, straight onto broadcast. So it's really critical path. You have to be quite careful about your choices, about what equipment you're going to use. And also you don't want to interfere with the editor's creative space, because there's a lot of demand and pressure on these editors that are having to make that program at that time. And the last thing what they want to worry about is new equipment, or not understanding how to use something, or fitting something and adapting their own workflow. So we were very sensitive to coming up with solutions that were, really good for them, and understanding what they wanted. So their demand on them was to deliver a highlight program within an hour after the event ended. And we had to find something that was a real-time editor, something that did what became known as edit-while-ingest, which is the ability to start editing a piece of footage that is being recorded before that file has been closed. So the file is still recording, and you are loading it into your timeline as an editor, and you are starting to edit that as it's happening, and you're kind of chasing the live event, maybe 10 minutes behind the live event started. So you start editing about 10 minutes in, and then you just have to keep going. And then hopefully by the end of the show, you're only 10, 20 minutes out of sync to you finishing that program and it being ready to broadcast. So we needed to be able to work in ProRes, because that was the broadcast format that was established with the editors. They were using Premiere and they were using Final Cut, both on Mac. So ProRes made sense. We wanted to be able to record multi-channels of audio, which is something very specific for broadcast, because there's naturalization that happens where people need to be able to put their own language commentary on something afterwards. So there are various tracks in our 16 available tracks that are just specifically for them. Maybe it doesn't have ad breaks, maybe it does have, there's all sorts of differences between the tracks. And we needed what's called clean and dirty recordings, which can sound strange to some people, but if you're in broadcast, you kind of know what that means. So one is without graphics and one is with all the graphics. So we needed effectively a 2-channel recorder with multi-channel audio that we could do edit-while-ingest that worked we didn't have to learn anything new for the editors. They didn't have to break their creative cycle. And we looked at various products, and I think I was listening to a podcast, and I think it was Alex Lindsay, who's a sort of a guy who's in the same sort of industry and is, really researches his stuff. And he was talking about this product. And of course, my ears went up, and it was like, I'm going to find out, they're in Belgium, and they're kind of, their site looks right. I'll talk to these guys. And that first experience of just talking to you guys and finding out, what could be done, it was immediately aware that you cared. And that your product was something that you were passionate about, and you understood how serious it is for us to get those recordings, and they can't go wrong. They have to really exist because we're live. We don't get a chance to do it again. Mission critical. So we wanted a bit of software that would work on hardware that we know works as a mission critical hardware, an Apple Mac, that we could run and that would have great support. And that was it. We built the first system, and we've never looked back. And we have multiple systems in all different parts of the world, running in the States, running in Europe, a lot of systems running in Europe now. We recommend it to other people all the time. It's a recommendation you can do with confidence in an industry that doesn't take fools gladly. If you say something's good, it better be good, because people's work depends on it.
Yeah. Pierre, you've been with Softron since the release of MovieRecorder. Do you want to, Jules just touched on some of the capabilities of it, the edit-while-ingest, the ability to record multiple channels. You can have multiple languages that you're working with on the various channels. Can you describe a little bit about the evolution of MovieRecorder from where it started and where it is today?
Yeah, so we started MovieRecorder, I think it was in 2007, the MovieRecorder, the first versions, and it was a software, and we started building the blocks also because we had some requests, and we worked together with Apple in order to be able to provide a solution for people who wanted to do edit-while-ingest. It's really what got us started. It's really the edit-while-ingest capability, because there were solutions around, hardware boxes and so on, but we found a way to be able to provide that. And it really helped because it that's what we like about our product. And as Jules said, it's true that we are passionate. I like what we do. I'm not really a sales guy, so I couldn't talk good if I was not convinced of our product. So we really like what we do, and we think that it's the best solution to be able to go with something that you know. Take a Mac and being able to do all your workflow. So we like the thing in your production environment, TV stations, that our software help you stay on the Mac as much as possible, from ingest to editing. We don't do editing, but you can use the Mac for editing, to play out and all other things. So with that edit-while-ingest capability, we added one more thing. We were doing playout since a while, and so we added the ability to record as well in a TV station. And since then, we've added many more capabilities. Of course, at first we were recording SD, one channel on one Mac, and then we added 2 and then 3 channels, and then we ended up to be able now to record about 20 channels on a Mac Pro. So yeah, that's a lot of channels, and but we have some people who use that many channels and even more, so they have to connect many of these. And we've added features like the scheduled recording came quick because we had the people who wanted to record every day their news show, for example, from different channels. We've added more things over time, like MXF. First it was only the MOV ProRes, but now we'll go to MXF XDCam, the NXHD, the NXHR. And we added external audio to be able to record audio from Dante, for example, recently. And we can also overlay text. So we have, for example, people who want to record and add their logo on the video, so we can do that. It can be used also for compliance recording, for example, because we can overlay text, so we can put the date and so on, so you can record. You can use MovieRecorder to record 24/7. It has an auto split feature. It will record a new file every whatever duration you set, 1 hour, 2 hours, and it will be frame accurate. We won't lose a frame between the recordings. So we have recorders that are running 24/7. So yeah, we've added many things over time.
How about remote control?
Yeah, the remote control, it's very important, as I explained with the Mac Minis, where you can stack multiple of them and control them remotely. We are doing that using a REST API that we've mentioned a few times in the past lives, and HTTP REST API. It's a HTTP protocol, so it's web-based. It's really something that is common, and that a lot of, if you're a web developer, you know what it is. Because if you want to, for example, retrieve the tweets from Twitter, you will have to use a REST API. So it's really something that is common and that you can run from a simple web page. You can have a web developer build a web page that will control our software, recording the playout or whatever. And we have simple applications, so you can be on a PC, on a Mac, or even on your iPhone. So you type the IP address of the where the MovieRecorder stands, and you'll be able, from your iPhone, to control the recordings. So that's very powerful, we think.
From your iPhone?
Yes.
From your iPhone, you can control the recordings remotely.
Yeah. It's a simple web page, so it's, yeah, I think iPhones can go to web pages.
Great. I just wanted to emphasize it. That's all. That's why I was stressing. Jules, how about you with remote control and of devices? Do you find that necessary in your line of work?
Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of years. I think that I went from about 60 flights a year, traveling to the events, and to 0. In a week, I think, but with the mission that we had to change our workflows to operate remotely. We also, as part of our business and a part of the motorsports group, they were coincidentally launching a lot of esports. So when we went into this period of COVID and lockdowns and sporting events being cancelled, there was a natural increase in all the already planned esports. So we also had to start to use a lot of cloud infrastructure, and a lot of the technologies involved with esports have now sort of cross-pollinated and supported us as we've transitioned into remote workflows. So all of those individual, you can think of them as rack towers with equipment dedicated to those sections. So edit, live streaming, and archive. Those are now actually physical racks that sit in the OB units, and they are now controlled by Apple Macs. And we remotely control everything from here in the MCR that we built. We were building it for about 4 months prior to lockdown because it was the direction we knew we were heading in, regardless of COVID. Then it all happened, and it just accelerated that move. So we had a lot of learning to do. There was a lot of promises out there from companies that would say they would do this, that, and the other over distance. But I think a lot of that has now trickled away, and there's a lot of experience out there. That means that that the world of remote broadcast is now pretty much here to stay, and a pretty well-known sort of workflow. So yes, every single aspect of what we do now is remote. The last piece will be the remote editing. We still have an editor on site, but for our next season, moving forwards from January, all of that remote will be happening here back in the UK or in the US or wherever, in Asia, wherever is most appropriate to find the correct editors for that particular series and that championship. And we can just as easily have somebody in Australia editing something as we will be able to have somebody here in the UK edit something that's happening in Australia. So it has meant that the business opportunities, the skill acquisition, finding people, has completely changed. And I think it's really important for people to understand on different parts of the planet what people are used to using, and to accept that, you know, as long as they're delivering what they need to deliver, then they should always use what they kind of trust. But we've had an extraordinarily good experience using Apple Macs in the last 10 years, and that will continue. I think that another benefit of using the Mac is that if you ever tried to pick up a piece of equipment that was critical path at an airport shop, because we fly to events and we go all the time to different events around the world, if you suddenly want to bolt on another movie recorder and you're thinking, oh, we've got another feed or another 2 feeds, 3 feeds, 4 feeds we need to record and capture. Where's the nearest, pro company that's going to get me another, XYZ rack product that's going to do that job? They're all closed. It's the weekend. We're in a live event at weekends. If you use an Apple Mac in the scenario, you can buy one in an airport shop that will, to most people, be a domestic, laptop or a Mac Mini. But you can press that into service in a professional broadcast environment and put a piece of software on it like MovieRecorder, and within seconds you will be in a position to deliver critical path recordings. And now with the use of NDI, the fact that you can do that in the network, you don't even need to have separate ingest modules. You can ingest on other machines and take the NDI feed from any of the NDI on the network into Softron MovieRecorder and record that as well. So, it's not to be underestimated. If stuff goes wrong or you suddenly get extra demands on your production process, being able to go to a local high street store and buy exactly the same unit that you have in your rack that is already doing the job, or of course now with the new M1 Max, probably better and newer and more capable, that's quite an extraordinary feature of going down the Apple Mac route. And it means that every single aspect of Softron's software provision and choices will run on that platform. You've got that solution, that hardware solution for any of that. you suddenly need to do something, well, you can just go and buy a unit from an Apple store. That's kind of crazy, but not to be underestimated in the world of live TV and live production and ad hoc changes. One of our jobs is to make sure that we can supply whatever is needed from the director or producer. If they suddenly need something doing, well, that's a great position to be in. Yeah.
That's a fantastic plug for not just our product, but for Apple and for the industry in general. I think our industry is really leading the way. Your industry is really leading the way in getting this done. I want to thank you for your time, Jules. I know I promised you that I wouldn't keep you for the whole hour. We do have another recording geared up to be able to play. You have been very, very helpful. I think the answers to our questions and your descriptions of what you are doing are really going to help a lot of people become involved with Max, with Softron, with MovieRecorder.
You know,
it's great.
It's a great product. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you, everybody, for having me here and listening to our stories. And you know, it's so important to make those changes the right way. It's a lot of money to spend. You know, budgets are tight. Buying the right equipment and buying it once and buying it right. You know, that's where you really learn the value of equipment, and also support, company support teams that are there for you. You know, we had a situation once where you know, we suddenly had to have another couple of feeds for an editor. We rang up support at Softron. I think I got hold of Pierre. He was in the States. It was a completely different time zone. He'd just woken up, and he was able to source us a solution within seconds. We had 40 minutes left to go to air, and he provided the solution and got us up and running about 4 minutes before live, and we were able to press the record button. So it's a real joy and a pleasure to be here and talk about some of the products and to maybe give an insight into why Softron as a company, and also MovieRecorder is something that we really believe in, and we're happy to talk about.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank
Been
you.
a great asset to our live production.
Thanks.
Take care. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Virgil Beljambe, gentleman that I've known for several years. Virgil, could you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself, your first experiences with Softron, and what you're doing now.
My first experience in Softron was a long time ago, so I don't really remember. I think it was before 2000. I think it was, yes, 2000. And I discovered software, whole software from Softron. It was TV player. TV player was a playout solution, but at this moment you can't really play, you know, clips on your hard drive like today. So TV player was managing decks, video decks, and the application was able to start a clip from a tape and change the decks after the end of the first clip, and like this. So it was a very hot solution 24/7, but it was working and very amazing at this moment. And it was very, very affordable for this period. So I continue to work with Softron after, and I discover a very new product. I think it was, and sorry if I'm not good for the date, but I think it was around 2003 or 4. And I discovered a very new product, and it was OnTheAir video, so the first version. And now we are in 2021, and my opinion about OnTheAir video is I continue to work with, because for me it's a bestseller solution and software. So now, so I've got my own company. The name is Capta Prod, and the company is 12 years. Yes, 12 years. old, and we are a broadcast company. So our first job is to do. We've got an Obi van, so 2 Obi van now, but in 2010 we bought and we built an Obi van, and all the every computer was Macintosh, because we decide to work with Macintosh and we never changed our mind. And of course, what we want at this moment is to work with a new workflow. So we decide to work with the first ATEM switcher, and of course we decide to have play out, not play out, but OnTheAir video, and we use it as a play out server for the TV show in France. What we use at this moment was 2 channels, and it was very amazing for the French production, because they discovered this kind of solution. It was very easy to use, because you can do drag and drop, very easy mix and match codec, mix and match resolution. So for this period, it was very rare, this kind of solution. And after that, what we did is to buy M80, so MovieRecorder with 8-channel ingest solution, and for us it was our killer product. Why? Because with the ATEM switcher, you were able to record every switch, and every post-production work was very easy to use for the post-editing. So maybe I talk too much, and maybe
No, that's fine. I think
when you start to talk with Softron product, I can talk a lot. So
Well, no, I think that's brilliant. I mean, you're one of Softron's oldest customers, one of the most experienced customers. As I said, I've known you for a long time, and I remember seeing your van when you were showing it. I believe it was at IBC. I don't remember the exact year, and the enthusiasm that you had when you were showing it. And indeed, I think at that time, nobody thought that anyone could build a van as compact, because it was extremely compact.
Yes.
And it had every piece of equipment that you could possibly need for mobile production. And and I know you've done numerous projects where you've implemented the M80 and had multiple sources. And I believe you've even done some where you've been, where edit-while-ingest was even a very important aspect. Could you describe a little bit how you went ahead and what type of projects in the mobile production environment that you used MovieRecorder and the edit-while-ingest function?
So to be honest, we've got a big project. We work with a business school, a very famous business school in the world. The name is INSEAD, and the INSEAD is just 20 kilometers away from here. Sorry. So they came one day. They came because they want to record a classroom for Microsoft. And the point of Microsoft, they wanted to do the post-production directly in San Francisco, but we were recording everything here in Paris. So immediately I imagined the workflow with Multicam Logger, the MovieRecorder, and in edit-while-ingest. So what we did at this moment, so the most difficult part of this workflow is to convince the customer, because they didn't realize that it was possible for this kind of budget. Because if you're working with a big company, bigger company than mine, the price is bigger than what I can, so we work with, so after we can, so what we did is a proof of concept. So we came with our Obi van, the ATEM switcher, the Multicam Logger, and the MovieRecorder, sorry. And we show them the edit-while-ingest. And So we decided to record every camera on the set. So it was 2 cameras, 1 crane, and 2 PTZ, if I remember well, yes. And because they were very, very, they were in the rush, Microsoft was in the rush. So we did every classroom in the real time, and each time we end a segment. Like a session of the classroom. The video editing was directly with an operator, and at the end of the day, they've got everything. And
I think that's the main point of MovieRecorder and Multicam Logger, to be able to get at the material so quickly that somebody doing it is going to be done with the job within 1 or 2 hours after the job is after the recording is complete. Pierre, do you have anything to add about the MovieRecorder and the multicam functionality working together?
Well, the multicam functionality with Multicam Logger, it's really helpful for customers, especially if you are doing production and in mobile production, that Virgil, that everything goes quick, and sometimes you don't have the time to be really, things have to go quick, and you have to decide to take a camera. And for example, if you take the wrong camera on air while the cameraman is going and shooting somewhere else, Multicam Logger really helps to correct these things. So for example, if you have a cameraman that takes a wrong shot, then afterwards, once the production is done, you can quickly go back in your editing solution and change that angle. And just that angle, because you have all the different cameras recorded, all the ISOs, and you can quickly switch. Something else that also happens is to have color balance that is wrong on one of the angles. And before that, if you realized afterwards and you were like, oh, that camera is wrong every time, to correct that and isolate every time it was showing up in the show, it was very difficult. While with Multicam Logger, you can really just select that angle, change the color balance for that, and it's done in a few minutes. So really to correct a live afterwards, before you put it online and so on and broadcast it, it's very easy.
And you have the capability to add markers, and this is very, very, very. It's like so much better for us because you can, if you need a cue point, just press add marker, just put a comment on it, and done, and you can see the comment directly in the post production solution. So and I think if I remember well, it's working with Final Cut Pro 10 and Adobe Premiere Pro, I think.
Yes.
And it is a very, very good solution because sometimes some video operator prefer to work on Premiere Pro, and sometimes another prefer to work on Final Cut Pro. So this is very, very a good feature that you are able to work with different solutions.
It's very versatile. Virgil, obviously you pointed out the cost effectiveness and the efficiencies of Softron. I know you use other products. I believe you're sometimes even working with EVS in your productions. Could you give us a little flavor for when you use which product and what the primary differences are between the two?
It's very simple. I would say operators. I've got an EVS, of course, because operator wants EVS solution. So I've got an XT Nano, so it's like 6-channel EVS, slow motion solution. And so, of course, this is a very good product. It's very expensive. It's around I think it was 1,100 euros. So it's like a big price. And why I did buy this product, it was because operator wants to work with it. And if I didn't have this product in my hobby van, sometimes I didn't get the market. I didn't get the work. So we bought that, and of course it's working well. But sometimes we don't need like a seed channel sometimes like this. And to be honest with you, I'm using MReplay for everything I need. Sometimes it's like a very simple setup, like 2 cameras, or sometimes I just need to do a time delay. MReplay, that's fine. Or three angles, that's fine. But because I'm able to do it, I'm not an EVS operator, and if you don't know the product, it's very, very difficult to work with, because it's so long. If you have to work a long time ago, it's I know I assume you know the remote of the LSI. It's a very big remote and with a lot of buttons. With MReplay, it's totally different. But it wasn't my choice. But if it was me, I think I directly not, because I think MReplay was not on the market at this moment. So
Yeah.
So Virgil.
Yeah, I think that, we don't target EVS as a competitive product. Obviously, it's an entirely different product. But the point that you made about the user who actually decides what he's going to work with, and that's what we're seeing more and more, is it's not just a cost factor, but the fact that the training factor is very big, that it's easier to start working in a mobile environment with some Softron solutions rather than work with another solution. And I think you would agree with that. Pierre, do you have anything that you would like to say about MPlayer at this moment in time?
Yeah, well, you said quite what I wanted to say about the EVS and the comparison with it. Yeah, it's really, when we developed it, we did not have in mind to replace EVS. We know how it works, how they are used. They are good products indeed, but we think they are totally. We wanted to open the market instead of going and wanting to replace, because we think many others try to replace EVS and so on, but we think there's a much bigger market for people who don't have the budget for that and have much simpler needs and don't have the budget also to buy and train people. And MReplay is really, really good for that. It's really easy to use. In a few minutes you can know how to use MReplay. So yeah, I think that's the point.
And I was saying, I mean, what we talked about yesterday, or actually on Monday, we talked about staffing, and staffing is such a huge issue, and trying to make sure someone is trained and have the time, and that's a big issue going on right now. And what you're saying is, hey, with EVS, yes, it's a great product, but requires someone who has had this training time, who's gone over this and knows this system. Where you were able to jump on MReplay, Virgil, and say, oh, hey, I can run this right now. And I think that's a really important focus when you're looking at our products is training time. So that's really important.
David, follow-up question for you. Virgil mentioned how he was integrating the ATEM from the very first in his van. I know in another session that we did, you were mentioning how you love working with the ATEM. Could you go into a little bit more detail about it?
Well, I've been a switcher guy since 2006, first time I got on a switcher, and I've been on that. And I think one of the things that are really cool with the new OnTheAir Video and OnTheAir Video Express is the Hyperdeck emulation. So you can run your video directly from the ATEM. You can see in that list what's in that playlist, and you can select those videos. And one thing that, when you talk about production automation and how expensive it gets, you talk about automatically bringing in graphics and triggering things. There's some solutions out there that do that, and that gets very costly. And I thought, well, this is great because you can have a clip in your OnTheAir video and an action in there that says, hey, run this graphic at this time. Well, now you can do that with OnTheAir Video and the ATEM. So when you're taking your video, it's going to bring up your graphics automatically. And I thought, well, how wonderful is that you don't have to worry as a director, as a TD, about the graphics person or any of that. It's just going to bring it up automatically. So having that automatically roll, that automatic playlist, and that's the great feedback, because we do work well with Blackmagic and other devices like AJA and of course our DeltaCast cards, but with the Blackmagic you can see in Multicam Logger, we can control the ATEM right in there, so you can be switching from there. And of course what OnTheAir Video does with the ATEM, I think it's a perfect tool together.
Yeah, and when you see, these ATEM Mini, they are very nice for small production. They are very affordable, but they don't have a video player. So OnTheAir Video is a great complement to those, where you can have a laptop, as I have here, a simple Thunderbolt output device. You get in the ATEM, and you can very quickly play files. And as David mentioned, with the Hyperdeck integration, from the ATEM software control, you can actually see the list of clips in your playlist and control it from there. You don't even need to start OnTheAir Video. So from the same software, you select the clip you want to play, and as soon as you hit the button where OnTheAir Video gets in, it will start playing in OnTheAir Video. So very easy to implement.
I see, Virgil, that you're shaking your head up and down. I imagine that this is something that you use quite often in mobile productions.
Every week. And since 1 year now, we use a lot the Streamdeck panel as well, because you're able to remote OnTheAir Video and the ATEM at the same time. So it's it's so easy to create a workflow, like in less than 1 hour. You can it's incredible. So I think I'm honest. It changed the way to work for me.
Yeah.
You also
I was going to. The last question I was going to ask you, Virgil, was, can you imagine your life without Softron?
No, but I'm sure you will ask why. And because for me, it's a long story with Softron. It's like 20 years ago. So I think, to be honest, I don't know, but I can't imagine my work without Softron solution, because I didn't tell you, but I also have a broadcast center. So it's like we are playing a lot of clips. We are doing 24/7 with OnTheAir Video as well. So because today it's mobile production, but we use a lot OnTheAir Video 24/7. We are using MovieRecorder as 24/7 because it's like, a loop recording. Right. Every live also is every live is recording on MovieRecorder as well. It's a second channel, and everything is controlled with Apple Script. So when we start the live clip on OnTheAir Video, it starts the recording on MovieRecorder, and we've got the good name of the file. Everything is is connected with a third party, like a traffic chain solution named Prodiff. But it's amazing. And every day we discover a new feature, and every day we work on it. And hopefully, like since years ago now, we are able to remote everything in REST API. So this is incredible. So every day, I think every ABC, I'm like this. I want to discover the new feature of Softron for it. So definitely, I think my life should be different with Softron.
Yeah, I think so. I thank you for your time today, Virgil. Your insights were very enlightening. You started over 20 years ago working with Softron products. You've seen the products change over time, from controlling decks for 24/7 broadcast into developing one of the first vans ever using Softron products and Blackmagic design products in the same van. And you've stayed with the product, creating your own studio, broadcasting 24/7, still using the vans, and your preference is obviously using the Softron products over any other product. So you've been a loyal customer, and I know Softron really appreciates it. And I'm sure a lot of people, after hearing about your experiences, will really consider how they can use Softron products to make their life easier and better.
Thank you very much. And just one more thing, I think Softron is a human company, and this is very important for me. So I hope the customer who can ask the question, why I should use Softron products. Also, it's because Softron is a human company, and we can talk with you, and this is what I appreciate.
Okay. Thank you very much for the compliment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to the end of day 3 of Softron's virtual exhibition. Today was extremely informative. I hope everyone enjoyed it. A reminder that we will post this on our website. I'd like to switch over now to Pierre Chevalier. Pierre, do you have any final comments that you would like to make about the exhibition, our virtual exhibition, our guests, or
yeah, I think we had
Softron in general?
We had great guests, and these 3 days were very interesting, and with different type of guests, and all explaining how they use our products and other products, and in their specific type of workflow. So we hope that really helped our customers to be able to understand and maybe have ideas and so on, showing the new features, explaining new features of MovieRecorder, OnTheAir video, the CG as well. So, but in case you have more questions and you want to have more explanation, something you did not understand, again, don't hesitate to reach out to us. It's easy to find our contact on our website, and there are also slots if you want to have one-to-one meeting with us with Zoom. And yeah, as you've heard, I think we're trying to make our team accessible. You can email us and we'll try to answer very quickly. So yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And yeah, David?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for making this, such a great year for Softron. Yes. and such a great virtual exhibition. I think Jules kind of hit on something important when you talk about redundancy, and when he said, hey, if your computer dies, when you deal with proprietary things, when you deal with a proprietary computer, you can't just go out and buy it. But you can buy a Mac pretty much at any electronic store, and even just your basic goods store. And that's kind of great about having that dongle, is that, it's a Mac, it's still going to work. That's a huge bonus that, hey, you can go to Best Buy, Costco, and just about any store, and it's going to have Macs there. And when you talk about big production, or you talk about broadcast equipment, that's a bigger ask to say, hey, do you have a 7,000 unit? It's not going to be there. So I think that's really important, and that he brought that up. But to all our guests, they're all doing really amazing work. Yeah. From the first day, Olivier, what he was doing, from what we saw from the nonprofits yesterday. Also very fascinating to see all these different scopes that we're part of in the different types of broadcasts. So it's been really wonderful. I thank all our viewers. I thank all of our customers, because and these people are our customers, and that's what's great, that they've loved the product, and then we've become friends. So we get to have that relationship with them and learn what they're doing, and it just makes our product better. So
it's great to hear them comment, and we didn't train or rehearse that. So, and it's good to hear. They were very nice comments, so we always like that. And yeah, I think it has been very interesting. And yeah, it's true that there was these comments from Julian the other day. Also, we talked a lot with the churches about the staffing, that it's easy. Yeah. And yeah, I think we explain why also to use not only the Softron software, but the Mac itself, because yeah, we are a Mac software platform, and it's easy to get a hardware, but also it's a platform that people know. So there's no extra training, and there was also that I think was interesting to hear how they are using it. So.
Yeah, 70% of people have an iPhone. Of smartphone users are iPhones, and so they're already familiar.
In the US,
in the US, yeah. So they're already familiar with that and what it entails. So to say, hey, here's a system, it's going to work, and here's what we're doing, and it's versatile. So yeah, no, I thank so many of them, and what's great is that you can call our support, you can call our sales line, and you say, hey, this is what I'm doing with my workflow, what do I need to know, and we'll talk you through it. That we can say, oh, this is what we can do, and this is how we can make it work for you. Because even as an employee, a year later, I'm still finding features I didn't know we had. I know that's kind of embarrassing. Maybe I shouldn't admit it. But there's still things I find that I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And so that you'll end up seeing a video of that. It's probably because I just found it out. So thank you again.
Okay, great, guys. Thanks for your comments. Thank you, everybody, for watching this. I just want to remind everyone that you can visit our website and find out lots more information about Softron, our products. And if you want to drop us a note to ask a question, you can always drop an email to sales@softron.tv. Thanks again.